I started out at Saginaw Valley, where I played a quick moment of football there, pretty much a couple cups of Gatorade and some bad knees, and went into graphic design there and realized that sitting behind the computer and the desk and that wasn't something for me. I then transferred over to Northwood University and got more into business management, hospitality, and culinary, and finished over there and got right into the business where I'm at right now as general manager of the Grand Banquet Center. So,
the progressiveness, being proactive with students, events, athletics, teaching, outside programs. The continuing education with the early college program for the students to get them a good start in life. These are things that I look for as a parent, as a child that goes to school here, 2 children actually. So the opportunities are there for the school, and that's what gets me excited about having my children go to school, attend school here at Hemlock.
I've been on the board for 8 years now, and it's really, it's been my privilege to work with the leaders, administrators, teachers, support staff, just truly a bunch of great people here in Hemlock. And in that time, when I first got on the board, I had concerns about our finances, our program offers for kids, the culture overall in the district. And in those 8 years, I've seen tremendous improvements in all those areas. So I have kids in Hemlock. I went to Hemlock. I was a Hemlock graduate in 1989. And I have a middle schooler and a high schooler now. And to see the kids, the teachers, everyone kind of reap the rewards of those benefits, the program offers, the financial situations that we're in. I just want to continue to make Hemlock the best place it can possibly be for our students, staff, administrators, community, for everyone involved. I really do feel like our schools are the heart of the community.
Sure. Most recently, I've been with a company called Hanger Clinic. We do artificial limbs and orthotic bracing. I've been with them for 18 years. I now manage their Medicare and their auditing process for over 800 clinics nationwide. I have also, in the past, I have served as class advisor there in Hemlock for my son's 4 years of high school. Prior to all of this, back in the heyday, I served as the Student Advisory Council president in our children's elementary school in Sarasota, Florida for 3 years.
How the sinking fund passed, and I believe that the funds in that fund so much that I wrote a check to help promote it. I also love this new STEM center. I refer to it as Tom Lockwood's baby. It's amazing what a small town can do together to provide the highest of education possible, and all the hard work that goes into achieve the goals. Balancing the budget and keeping the staff on board and hiring of new staff is also very good. I love the Hemlock community warmth. I enjoy attending the sports events and getting involved.
I'm a huge sports advocate. I like to see as much as we can getting into the sports programs. However, of course, I am very much into education as well. I would really like to see us grow forward in a community as well as a school to bring in potential young families up this way of what we can provide out here for them.
The reason I want to serve, like I said before, that I've been part of this school district now for going on 22 years, again with my wife and my children. I see some things that I'm really impressed with, and I see some things that I wish I could have input in to help improve it, make things better, give better ideas, have a different perspective on things as a parent and as a spouse of an employee here at the Hemlock School District. Keep teachers and brighten the future of our young children in this community, and want people to bring their families here to have their children go to the school district. There's things that I want to, like I said, be a part of hopefully for the better, and to make things better and be progressive for the future of Hemlock School District.
Sure. So my background, I had mentioned previously, I was a graduate of Hemlock Schools, went on to college and then the military. I did 4 years in the Air Force, where I went through tech schools and went into kind of the IT arena. In that space, I went from being really kind of an IT installer and field technician, field engineer, up through management, to where I actually finished as a director for a leading global IT technology firm. I have been able to leverage that experience in some conversations with the leadership here in Hemlock to help us move forward with some of our technology. So I have been able to leverage that background. I have served as a consultant for contract negotiations, those types of things in my professional life that have led me to be able to work with our unions here to negotiate contracts over the 8 years that I have been on the board in a very positive fashion for everyone. So those experiences, I think, have been a benefit, and I hope to continue to be able to leverage those.
So there's a lot of things overall. I mean, the STEM Center is a huge promotional aspect within the community, but that's a part of the diversity that our community has, that our school has had over the years. I think in the academics, in the athletics, in all around, the diversity there, to me, it's, that's what ensures that we don't leave any kids behind. We have a program there that will ensure to capture every one of our students.
For the community involvement, I've enjoyed my service so far of being part of the Board of Education. I'm also part of the Hemlock Sawdust Days Committee. My part is to conduct the auction tent and raise funds towards the community projects and scholarship money to the high school students. The Board of Education work together to help provide an enjoyable and healthy, safe environment for our students' education, preparing the students for college-ready kids.
My first year at Northwood, I started out as I got hired in at the Saginaw Country Club as a manager, helped run the country club for a couple of years. From there, I took the general manager position at the Grand and have been there ever since. So I got 20 years over there. As far as running a small business and general manager, I mean, I'm a part of every single department that it takes to run a business. Whether that's some maintenance or, of course, accounting and all that kind of stuff, going over budgets and so on. I mean, it's what I do on a daily basis, managing people, managing time, the whole 9 yards. It's quite fun. It's also, putting in some long hours at times, but it's all worth it. It's been a good time.
My work history, I started when I was 13 years old. I grew up in Traverse City, Michigan. Started working when I was 13, working on the cherry orchards, all the way up until high school. And then I worked in retail at a candy store in the Grand Traverse Mall. Went to Saginaw Valley State University, graduated in criminal justice degree with a minor in sociology, and became a police officer for 15 years. Got out of that business, went into the oil field, worked on drilling rigs for a couple years. Oil went down in price, got laid off, and went back in the job market. And now I currently work at Saginaw Control and Engineering. Started in the factory in a short period of time, moved my way up. Now I'm in the corporate office. Been there now about 5 years.
Great question. Probably really hard to pinpoint just one thing. I think we all understand that without finances, you can't really complete any projects. You can't, you can't buy programs for the kids. You can't invest in infrastructure. You can't do those types of things. So, we went from low single digit fund balance to a very healthy fund balance in those 8 years. I think focusing on being efficient in how we spent our dollars and where we spent our dollars has led to some truly great programs, some great initiatives, some things here at Hemlock. So the bottom line is really the finances to do those things, but it ends up being the program offerings for the kids. I know when my kids first started here, there weren't a lot of elective options. I look at how the STEM program has grown in that time. I think, Tom Lockwood in leading that has done just a phenomenal job. So there's so many things to be proud of. It's hard to point to one. I think, maybe you say it's the people working together and how they've worked together collaboratively to get to where we're at today, to allow us to be in a financial situation to be able to invest in programs, to invest in our kids, to invest in our teachers and leaders in the schools. So I'm not sure if that's one answer, but that's the one I'm going to go with.
I'd like to start getting more involved in the local community as my children are getting older. We have the last one finally in high school. I think it's extremely important that the kids know and see that there are other people in the community that are supporting them and looking after them and are always there to make sure that their best interests are always being taken into consideration. It's the benefit of all instead of the benefit of one. And as a parent, you very frequently are looking at the best thing for your children, which you have to do. But as a community, what's that old saying, the old adage, it takes a village. And I think that that's my biggest reason, is to make sure that we have the support, the people, the visibility to make sure we include all of the kids.
Meeting our financial needs. That's our biggest challenge.
I think that I can bring another perspective to the table. I have a lot of interest in not just Hemlock School, but Hemlock community. I grew up here, raising a family here. I have lots of great friends that are doing the same thing, trying to promote, friends that might be at Freeland or Swan Valleys, and that, really trying to get them to come out here. And, I get the question why, and of course I try to give them what I think is the best. But, I just want to be a part of helping Hemlock get better. I mean, like I said, I bleed blue and white, and I just thought I could help out. So
I have some ideas for the school district that I think would be a positive in a sense. My daughter's on the POM team. They're 3-time state champions. My son's involved in soccer. He did robotics for a little while. I see if I can, give a perspective, like I said, as a husband of an employee that works here. It's a teacher, and then my children that come every day and they talk about the exciting things that happen in school and their ideas, my wife's ideas, and what they're excited about and what they're down about, and how they can make those things that they're down about, how they improve them. And a lot of it, some things that, as a parent on the outside, I want the best for them. And for the school district, I want the best school district for them, for their futures and their ability to go to school every day. Hemlock has such a lot of great things that go on here. As far as, like I said, the extracurricular activities, I'm biased because my daughter's a POM team, but 3-time state champions. That's something with the robotics team here, the gray matter team. I mean, that's awesome. We got a great football team. They won the first game, blew up on a blowout. Things that get excited for me at least, is maybe having input to that to help expand and advertise that stuff, because I know parents want the best school district for their children. And the first thing if they, especially in this time in this age where school of choice will come a big deal, especially if they get vouchers and parents can decide where their children, where they want. You want to be able to bring them here and not to the Merrills and the Saginaw Townships and the Freeland schools and Thomas Township schools. You want to be able to have them say, look, this is what's all about Hemlock schools. This is what they have offered. championship teams. They got great robotics team, the education, they have the early childhood programs going on. They have so many extra things to broaden the minds of the children that they say, hey, let's put them at the top of the list and bring them here to this school and keep this community thriving with their students. So the things you get, excited about is looking at both, having the opportunity to look at both sides of what's the positive, what's the negatives, what will work, what won't work. And if we could take that stuff and as a team work together with the input from the students, the input from the teachers, the input from the community, and making them a part of this is something I would like to get excited about and say, hey, I would like to be a part of that, is to say, hey, let's bring all these people back, get all their input from this to this to this, and see what works. I know it's not always going to work, but there's always try it and see if it succeeds. So that's what gets me excited about being on the board.
That's a fantastic question. So for Hemlock, specifically in other districts, I think one of the greatest challenges is attracting and retaining top talent. Even if you look at any business, the core of it is the people. I think we have fantastic people here in Hemlock. I think the leadership has done a phenomenal job of when we do have people retire and move into other positions, that we've had the ability to draw in top talent. But that's a challenge. It's not something that's easy to do. It's something that we have to continue to focus on. Another challenge, I really think schools are the core of the community. And when you look at some of the things that have happened in our community, the school district has been right there working with the business association. How do we bring in new businesses? How do we bring in another grocery store? There have been a ton of initiatives around those activities. We're only as strong as our community, and the community is only as strong as our schools. And I think we've done a phenomenal job there. And we can continue to do that. I view that as really the biggest challenge for Hemlock, specifically as a school, is continuing to grow our community, to grow our schools, so that we become a destination of choice for children. And I think we're there now. So continuing to do that, to attract and retain talent, to grow the community, I think that's probably our biggest challenge as a district.
Yeah, as Kim said, I think the financials are a huge, contributing factor to the issues and problems, of anything. But along with that is the population. Over the years, we've seen the population of the student body decreasing, which directly impacts your financials. So it's a twofold issue. You layer in all the other, social media and all the other things, involved in that. There's a lot, but I think a lot of it boils down to the financials and the student body population.
Would like to continue to be on the Board of Ed, to be part of the community family pride. I enjoy being involved in the school and the community events. My husband graduated in '73, my son graduated in 2003, my daughter graduated in 2006 here. My daughter was a recipient of the All Sports Award and the Teachers Award in 2006. My daughter is now a teacher herself in Traverse City for an autistic class.
Again, financial and budget. That's all I hear about. Well, I shouldn't say all. It's the greatest concern that I hear about. There's other things that you hear from other folks, and if you take some, you say, okay, everybody has their personal beliefs on what we should have at Hemlock, and some of them are good to think about, some are their own opinion, but when it comes down to the financing, that budget and the amount of kids that we have and the amount of money that the state's going to allow us and what we do with that money it's what I feel is probably the major concern.
Budget cuts, funding. One of the primary dictates on what programs you can offer, and how do we keep teachers? How do we support this activity and not support this activity? And like I said, without being on the inside and to see exactly what kind of barriers the board runs into, as an outsider looking in as of right now is, you're hearing cuts here. There's no money for this. There's no money for that, and so on. So as far as, challenges is, like I said, as a parent, as a resident of the school district, is it always seems like money seems to be the primary core of issues, millages, and they don't have money for this, they don't have money for that. Why are we losing teachers? Why are we not keeping teachers? And so on.
Thanks, Don. I think I would just continue to do the things that I have done. When we look at things like contract negotiations, I've been the lead negotiator in those types of things. I've volunteered to coach at the lower levels, the sinking fund committee, all those types of things. I try to be as active as possible in the district. I had mentioned in a previous question, I do have kids here in middle school and in high school. I was a Hemlock graduate. I have a huge amount of pride in Hemlock schools that drive me to want to see it succeed. And I know from experience, the biggest challenge, especially in smaller communities and schools, is resources. Having people that are willing to step up, be part of the committees, to put in the extra work. Those volunteers, that's the biggest challenge, really, to continue to do that. So I recognize that. In my 8 years, I've demonstrated that I'm more than willing to be part of committees, to work outside of the school, meetings with the HBA and community and those types of things. Those are things that we have to do as a small community, and things that I will look forward to, given the opportunity, absolutely continue to do.
Wow. That's just something that you have to do. It's a decision. It's a choice. It was a choice we made in moving back here. I, was born and raised here in Hemlock. My family's always been here. It's a choice that you make. We chose to be here, and we've always chose to be involved in the community. So it's a choice.
I'm a high school graduate with many teaching hours of training in infant, toddler, and child development. I've been licensed through the state as a group daycare for 25 years. I've seen lots of different backgrounds of children and families.
It comes down to time for me. Time is something that I think is very valuable. So if I'm involved with something, I'm going to be very passionate and committed to it, because I rarely get into something that I just don't have the time for. I'm not full board on it. If I'm elected, it is something that it's going to have my full commitment. So,
one, my children go here, and they're involved in activities, so I'm at the school a lot. I love coming to the football games. I love coming to all the events that the plays, the activities they have for the play, any kind of other special events that they have here. I want to stay involved. I like to, and believe it or not, I run into a lot of parents, and when I tell them, hey, I'm running for the school board, I get 1,000 inputs from them. Hey, this, that, well, let's do this. We're going to work on this. Are you going to, and I try to give them my stance and my view on it. Tell them I'm open to any suggestions that they have, and say I'm going to give it my all to try to get on the board and try to express these things that I hear on the outside and bring them on the inside and actually find out what's going on and what can be done to make better and work on the things that are bad. I love this community. I consider it my hometown. I grew up north. I've been here in Saginaw area for since 92. So I almost 28 years. And I used to go in and help my wife on teaching in her classroom. And I tell you what, these teachers, they have a lot of patience.
So as I mentioned previously, I am a graduate of Hemlock, 1989. I went into the military where I received several technical degrees, completed my associate's degree in electronics, and then went on through school to complete my bachelor's of science in management degree.
Well, I went to school there in Hemlock. I went to St. Pete's Lutheran through the 8th grade and then graduated from Hemlock High School way back forever and a year ago. I went to Eastern Michigan for a year, and I ended up going to trade school and graduating from Ross Technical Institute.
The community involvement. I've enjoyed my service so far and being part of the Board of Ed. I'm also part of the Hemlock Sawdust Days. I like getting involved. I continue to be involved in the events and the building present. I enjoy being part of the Hemlock Public Schools Pride. Go Huskies.
We did talk about this and the diversity in the programs as well as the STEM Center.
There is so much to be excited about in Hemlock schools that it's really tough to pinpoint. I think, the kids were excited to get back to school. I think the leadership, the teachers, everyone did a tremendous job in putting us in almost a unique position in the area to be as successful as we were. I look at our financial situation, our programs, our offerings for kids, our STEM Center. Certainly there's so much buzz around the STEM Center and the things that are happening there that it's difficult to really say there's just one thing. But when you look at the past 8 years and I look at where we were when I was first on the board to where we're at today and the growth that we've accomplished in all those areas, in working not only inside the school, but outside the school and the community and the business association and those types of things, I think the sky's the limit for us. Our trajectory certainly has been in an upward path, and it's super exciting to be a part of that. And again, I hope that I will be given the opportunity and the privilege to continue to do that.
I provided a warm, safe, caring environment for several families of the community for 25 years as a licensed group daycare.